Oh, snap. Hey, beautiful people. It's a girl. I'm looking a mess. But I was actually hoping to sort of like stop in and sort of chop it up with you guys. But I don't know, you guys ain't seeming to be able to show up for these segments just yet. So I'm thinking I might just do these videos. I've got a little bit of a thought process flowing. So I think that might be how we move through these channels because nothing seems to be going for this little space. It doesn't seem to be building momentum. So maybe it needs to be reshaped, but the content is needed. I think we definitely need to be having these types of conversations. Today, I wanted to speak because last week we spoke about the spirit of competition. I think Kayla wanted to sort of dive into a little bit of a situation for her reading. And it unfolded some stuff. Like we really dived into some tea, and then it seems like there was a seed of opportunity to be able to come into this space and maybe like have this discussion openly, and just kind of like see pretty much what transpires from being able to kind of like have these open discussions. I don't know if I can find the link. Okay, I'm gonna copy the link. Okay. Look at me, guys. I'm getting better with technology. Who's in the room? Say hey. I do wanna I'm gonna throw the actual stream link out there. If anyone's had their own sort of like personal situation with the spirit of competition, this is something that actually it's been breaking relationships for years, for centuries even. I want to say it even goes back to biblical times with Saul and Abel. So I think this situation is something that needs to be unpacked because it shows up a lot, particularly in friendship dynamics as well, actually. And it's about learning how to, I guess, channel this energy in a balanced way. And I have to say in a balanced way because I think that sort of like spirit vibrates at a low frequency anyways. So it's more a case of like maintaining a certain level of awareness to kind of like keep it elevated in a high state. I hope that I'm like not losing you guys because I don't want to go off on tangents, but you know, I wanted to sort of like share my own personal experience as well with the spirit of competition. It did show up for me in friendship dynamic. And that was a very interesting class. I learned a lot. Actually, it took me deep into my own wounds of competition, and I think that that's the thing that we don't have. Well, I'm not going to say we don't. That's the thing that I think we're growing. Let's use some positive words to sort of describe it. We're growing as a collective in being able to kind of like have these discussions. I guess this whole demon time concept, positives and negatives to that whole situation. We'll see how that actually like manifests over time because it is opening portals to low vibrational experiences. However, it is there to be able to elevate our growth as a collective. But it does mean that we have to go like really deep into understanding a lot of the story actually of our humans experience. So I'm going to actually I wanted to sort of like start the show because I didn't do this last week as well. I think I'm just diving into it, I guess, during these segments. But so the spirit of competition, it showed up for me in a long-term relationship, actually. Friendship, like I mentioned, it also showed up for me in a short-term friendship as well. In business, because it was projected at me, it actually opened layers of myself because it's not really, I was never really the competitive type. I like what's on my plate and I like to focus on stuff like that. So My mom, however, my mom's like naturally very competitive. So the blueprint of my genetics is, I guess, predisposition to be a certain way. If it's experienced, projected, basically it will activate certain genetic subconscious behaviors to sort of manifest, right? So yeah, I had a long-term friendship, which is where it showed up. I observed this spirit for like 20 years in this dynamic, and this was like a really, really interesting class because I'm still navigating through it. The detachment of that relationship, because it was broken through the spirit of competition, the wound still cuts very deep because the relationship was actually like significantly long. It was 2 decades. So it's something that my soul is still like, I still process the hurt of, I guess, the way that things actually manifested. And also, a lot of these things were done subconsciously, in terms of dynamics, even for myself as well. I woke up to so many sleeps that I basically had in terms of situations and how things would play out. But ultimately, it was a situation where, I think when you grow in internally, I guess, it inspires others. And I think that that's the thing that we don't get with the spirit of competition. This is how I'm going to give you guys a code as well, like how to hack the spirit of competition, right? Because really it's actually, again, it's like admiration. And it's got like aspirations. It's basically it's supposed to highlight all of your aspirations basically and give you a momentum to be able to drive towards that. But the spirit of competition can be utilized in a balanced state, as long as that competition is reflected internally as opposed to projected externally. So what do I mean by that? It's about constantly wanting to compete with the last version of oneself. I think with my situation, I feel like I'm being very vague. I feel like y'all are like, but you ain't said shit, sis. No, I feel like, I think because I know that the situation didn't happen consciously, and I know that it happened subconsciously. I want to say semi-consciously, because to be fair, I know that there was a knowingness, but I don't think that the degree of knowing, and being aware was strong enough to awaken from the sleep of the subconscious, like, dynamic that was taking place. So I think I'm going to save that. I think I'm going to save that, for another experience. But what I have learned from coming into this space is that, I'm going to really break down this content because there's a lot to it. And I'm actually going to, I'm going to dive into a whole class situation, with these kinds of shadows, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, because it is happening so subtly in the subconscious. It's genetic activations. We're going through a whole bunch astrologically as well at the minute. So it's charging a lot of our low vibrating states because we're sort of being encouraged to heal. My spirit of competition actually, like in dancing with that experience, without diving too much into it with the situation, it actually took me all the way back to revelations surrounding my birth, and I learned that my soul was actually sold on, I guess, to that spirit, even just at the point of conception, to be fair. But again, there's like so many different channels that are, when we think that we come here and like God's intentional and it's purposeful, like there's so many factors to the why. The why is so big, like it's so many additions and subtractions, and there's like so much universal math to it. Because it divides in areas and multiplies in other areas. It's a lot. It's a lot of intent, I guess, in a lot of areas. That's why God, I guess, is supreme intelligence, because You know, he knows, I guess, all. But that's something that we have to be able to sort of like become consciously aware of. So I am going to rethink how I deliver this content to you guys, because I think I can make it more fun and exciting if I like give you guys little videos, and because it's a lot of like learning and teaching and stuff, I'd probably have to do it in layers. I think that's what I learned in coming into the space, even tonight, because everybody's experience is different, and there's so many seeds, I guess, like even genetically speaking, like in our lineage, it activates like different layers of DNA, and it opens, I guess, other realms of reality for us to be able to experience when we navigate through these things. So sometimes, even though, because I have this with people a lot where they're like, oh, but that's not really my thing. Even for myself, I'd be like, oh, but competition isn't necessarily my thing. But have you been taught how to subconsciously be competitive? Because that's actually where you need to sort of like root it from, because you're experiencing what you are, not necessarily what you want or what you want to see yourself as. You're experiencing naturally what you are, where you have the likelihood of being, the probabilities of where you're vibrating naturally in areas. So we got to work on it. On that note, I am going to wrap it up, actually. I'm not going to make it too long, because I'm going to break this down for you guys, and I'm going to deliver it in a much better way, because there's a lot of these things. It's not just like the spirit of competition. There's like so many things. Anger is like one of the main. And the suicide demon. He's such a cloud chaser. He's literally just always waiting for an opportunity to just invite someone into an experience that he knows that they're vibrating to, not necessarily too low, because some people, they experience, like myself and some of the people that I guess I'm around, these shadows, when they show up, it's important to be able to observe and understand where we actually are. So before I bore you guys anymore, I'm gonna sort of love you guys and let you guys get on with your evening. I'm not gonna dive too deep into it, but I hope we can do this. Like, let this be a seed. I don't know when I'm gonna get the content to you guys. I'm just being honest. Because we know that consistency is something your girl's been working at, and I've been honest about where I'm at on my journey with that. So with everything else that I've got going on, I might be inspired to, but we'll see. I am gonna join you guys tomorrow for the most part. Let me go, actually. I'm gonna go and put the memo out on that. I'll definitely be going live tomorrow as well for the Friday night readings. You see, y'all want to join me for the Friday night readings, but when it comes to class, like, I was just the same. I can't lie. I can't lie. I was actually just the same in class, but I think it's one of those things where we'll see how the wave kind of like develops in a different construct. Okay. On that note, I'm gonna love you guys and leave it there. Peace, y'all. Hope you guys are enjoying your Thursday evening, wherever you are. Day, morning, whatever it is. God bless.